Hello everyone and welcome back to another reaction video. So in today's video, we're going to be doing something a little different, trying to kind of branch out and include some different variety over here. So I saw this Tasha K interview with Rose Miller, who is the face behind the YouTube channel Queen of Kings. And I thought the interview was very interesting, and so I wanted to kind of, speak on it a little more further. But before we get into the heart of this interview, I want to play this real quick for you.
Met you in a basement laying on a mattress. Let's be real about that. Let's be real about the fact that you moved in with me, not the opposite of way around. Let's be real about the fact that I never felt comfortable moving to your house because you lived in the ghetto. Let's be real about the fact that I'm the one that found the house, found the realtor, did all the footwork, did all everything, paid for the fucking deposit on the house, paid for the house, everything. Let's be real about that. Let's be real about everything since you want to say, let's put it on live. You're the one that told me to put it on live. It's about your daughter. You went to Minnesota or whatever your baby mother is from, and you've been nothing but a deadbeat to your daughter. You knew your daughter. You knew where she was. You did not try at all whatsoever. Let's be honest about the fact that I'm the one that made you see. I'm the one that made you see your daughter. Let's be honest about the fact that when I met you, you was lying about that. The fact that you had a daughter. Let's be honest about the fact that you are a literal how angry I got when I found out that you can't see that little girl, and I told you to go and get a lawyer and go fight for your daughter. Literally pissed off that you wouldn't fight for your daughter. Let's be honest about the fact that you lie and say she was a one-night stand, but your mother even told me that y'all was together. Let's be very honest. Remember in Iowa, you literally have a police report because you did what?
That's not true.
You did what? Yes, you did. Why did they take the gun in Iowa? Move. Get away from me. Get away from me. Don't come near me at all whatsoever. Yeah, don't come near me because let's not come near me. Let's not pretend that I'm the one that paid the deposit on our house. Let's not pretend that I'm not the one that paid for the Range Rover. Let's not pretend that I'm the one that paid for this whole fucking life that we live. Let's not pretend that. Let's not pretend. Let's not pretend. Oh, okay. Let's not pretend. Let's just be very, very real. You told me to put it on live, so I put it on live. Let's be real about the fact that I paid for the Range Rover, the fact that I paid for motherfucking everything.
So I wanted to play this so that some of you all who are not familiar with this channel can get a little up to speed with what's going on. This was a mess. There was definitely a lot that was revealed in these lives where Rose just kind of started going in on her husband, and she revealed a lot of stuff. She has since retracted a lot of the things that she put out on these lives, but Tasha K pretty much got a wind of this channel and the controversial topics that Rose puts out on this channel. And we're going to dive into this and see what's going on. So without further ado, let's get into it.
I don't feel like I don't know, purposely race baited. We do talk a lot about race in our content just because it exists, and we're not like, we talk about our experiences in life. That's what we do. We're a blog channel. And so literally, too often my son has been like, race is brought up. It is in everyday life. I feel like for Black people, period, it's brought up, but especially when you're in an interracial marriage, it's highly brought up. So we speak on that. As far as like hating Black men and everything like that, people try to accuse me of, it's not that at all whatsoever, but the statistics don't lie when it comes to Black men and Black women in the dating scene. And so my whole thing was to expand Black women's horizons, to expand their horizons, because I feel like interracial dating is not new at all whatsoever. But there's been a huge uptick in Black women dating out because Black women are always so loyal to Black men, yet we're the least to ever get married. We're the most to be single mothers, you know? So Black men have been doing this forever and downing us while doing it. I don't feel like I'm downing them saying as Black men by me doing it. I just want to let women know, like, you can expand your horizons to increase your opportunity of finding love and your worth, you know.
So right out the gate, Rose is basically saying that she doesn't believe that she produced content on her channel that suggests that she's race baiting. But I beg to differ because she definitely has been intentionally, titling her videos in a way that is going to gain a reaction. And the reaction that she knows she's going to gain is coming from the black community that is basically seeing how she's, in a sense, making a comparison, a very clear comparison when it comes to white males versus black males. And I didn't like how she didn't own up to what she, has done, because obviously anyone that watches her channel, she's always emphasizing things that highlights her blackness, or highlights the fact that her children are black, or her husband is white. Like she's intentionally making sure that the audience knows that this is what she's wanting to get a reaction to. She's not presenting herself first. She's not presenting her children, her husband first. She's presenting the race of herself, the race of her children, the race of her husband first. So it was just very disappointing that she didn't own up to the fact that you definitely do that. And a lot of people see that.
Okay, that was a really good, thorough explanation, and I'm glad you kind of covered all bases, and you speaking your truth.
Mhm.
But to me, as someone, let's just say, I'm not here. I'm here both as someone who is just a spectator of the show, right?
Yeah.
And I'm also here as a digital talk show host to ask you some pretty tough questions. And so you were in a relationship with a black man, and you do have two kids by a black man, correct?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And you got pregnant fairly young. I believe you were married before, correct?
Yeah. I was pregnant at 19.
That's really young.
Yeah.
So was he your husband or boyfriend at the time?
He was my husband with the first. I mean, sorry, my boyfriend with the first one.
Okay, and then he later on became your husband.
Yeah.
Was he the same age as you?
Yeah. He's a year older than me, so we did purposely have the baby also.
Okay, and that's cool. You
Yeah.
guys planned that.
Yeah.
Do you think it's and obviously that relationship is of no more. You've spoken about that relationship in a lot of videos and things like that. And to me, I feel like it's kind of the catalyst to why you decided to expand your horizons, because he did ultimately, from my understanding, leave you as a single baby mother.
So I appreciate Tasha K getting some background information on this. So basically, Rose is sharing that she was married before. She was married to a black man, and she has two black sons, full black sons. They're not mixed, with this individual that she's speaking about, her ex husband. And so when she married the man that she's currently married to, who is a white man, they became a blended family, and they ended up having two additional boys that are mixed. So they have a total of four children. So I just wanted to expound on the background that Tasha K is providing here, because some of you who are watching this may not be familiar with Rose and her YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Okay, and he does not pay child support or anything.
No, he did not for the longest. So currently he does, but that was a very, very long process. And I didn't want to do it. His parents told me to do it. But yeah, I'm glad that I did. And I advocate for all women to do it immediately.
So he's pretty much a deadbeat, is what you're saying.
Yeah. And he
Okay, okay.
doesn't, he
Now,
gets dramified when I talk about him publicly. So I try to, you know.
okay.
Yeah.
Now, is it fair to say, and I just want to play devil's advocate here for a second, you guys were 19 and 20, having kids, having a relationship. Is it fair to say, yes, we do have statistics of black men not being the best, but we have them in all races, right? Is it fair to say that, right? As well as there are white men in the community that are just as bad, okay,
Yeah.
as black men. And white
Yeah.
women are going through some of the same things we're going through too. They just don't publicize them as much as we do, right? You think it's fair to say that your husband at the time of baby daddy was too young and too immature and maybe not educated enough to understand what comes with having a black family at that age, 20?
Now, this is a great point that Tasha K made, because what Tasha is doing right here is she's trying to get to the root of the mentality behind why Rose feels the way she feels towards black men. And so, because her first experience, which was with a black man, was negative, it seems like she has not allowed herself to process in a correct manner, or really just in a mature way, to really look at the fact that you're basing your feelings towards the whole race when it comes to black men on a relationship that you had with your ex-husband when y'all both were young. Y'all both made mistakes. Y'all both ended up having children at an age where you wasn't really mentally prepared or responsible to know what that looked like. It was so many different challenges that were ahead. And I feel that what Tasha is, out the gate trying to establish right here is that it's very possible that Rose's view of black men was shaped based from her own personal experiences and her own personal letdown that she went through with her ex-husband.
You kind of spearheading into the algorithm with this white man who you kind of deem as better than any other man that you came across, especially black men. And I saw a lot of the videos where you were saying another black man's trash is a white man's treasure. Like I've seen like the clips, and to me, like I said, you may not agree, they do give race bait. And for you to be 19 and your baby daddy at the time being 20, that's a decision that y'all both made. And like you said, y'all both made that. Is it fair to put it on him that he is the reason as to why, you guys went south, why he's not able to afford to take care of the kids? Could you have been just as equally kind of toxic in that relationship as well, too?
I completely agree here because, the thing is, when you see a lot of the things that Rose says about black people, to some degree, I get what she's saying as far as how we have some black men that don't really own up to their responsibilities, but that's men in every race. It's not just black men. There are men from every race that have tendencies of not owning up to their responsibilities, not being a provider for their family, being unfaithful, not being self motivated to, want to make something of themselves. Like you're going to see that in all men. It's not just black men. And that's where I believe Rose is getting a lot of the heat from, because she's not seeing the full picture that she's painting when she says the things she says. It's very reckless, and for her to not really hold herself accountable to the fact that, yeah, you may be trying to articulate something, but it's not coming through that way, and as a result, it's offending a lot of people. But if you actually believe that, that's very problematic within itself. And so I can definitely appreciate what Tasha is presenting right here.
Okay. How many black men have you dated in your community? Besides your baby daddy? Yeah, besides your ex-husband, baby daddy. How many black men have you dated?
Maybe 2 or 3 besides him.
And so you're done with black men?
Naturally, like if I was not to be with my husband, I would not desire to waste my time trying to find the right black man. Now, if I just somehow just fell in love, then I would be open to that. I'm not closing. I'm not telling people to open horizons while I'm closing mine, but they wouldn't be like my first, option.
That's kind of strong.
I'm curious to know what y'all's thoughts and viewpoints are when it comes to this topic. There was a period of time where interracial dating was not allowed. People would literally get unalived if they were found to be in relationships. Like people literally had to hide their relationships. And so now you see that it is very much accepted. Everywhere you look, from the top down, it's being promoted. It's being promoted in Hollywood. It's being promoted everywhere you look. And you have to ask yourself the question, why now is this okay? Why now is it okay for white people to be with black people and vice versa? I feel the whole point was to dilute the black race. And there is a book that I think you guys should check out. It's very short. It's a very short book. So to those of you who don't like to read, it's not a very big book, but it's a very fascinating book. And it's called Melanin: What Makes Black People Black. And it discusses like different things pertaining to biology, pertaining to how black and white people are different. It speaks about the emotional behaviors and thoughts, and just so many fascinating things about it. So it's a really interesting read, y'all. But I say all of that to say that I do feel that there was a whole agenda behind why they decided to push for interracial marriages and for interracial couples. But at the same time, I am not trying to say that interracial marriage is wrong. I'm not saying that, if you are of the opposite race, you should not date or you should not get married. I'm definitely not saying that. But I'm speaking more so from the sense of when you look at the things that the government has shunned over the years and what they have decided to promote over the years, you got to take a step back and really ask yourself the question, why the change? Because understand, when it comes to our government, there's always going to be hidden agendas at play that they're not going to always present to the public.
Like,
Yeah.
'cause you have a black son, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
So are you, is it okay if black women were to skip over your son and say, hey, based off of my experiences with 3 black men, I'm no longer prioritizing men in my own race. Like, you're raising a black son without a black father, and right now his father figure is a white man.
Luckily, he has a great grandfather, which is my daddy, and also the baby daddy's father. They go to the baby daddy's father and mother's house every summer.
Mhm.
They didn't go this summer, but they do have like black men in their lives. But if a woman was to skip out on my son because it was her preference, I would in no way, shape, or form be offended. Just like if my sons were to skip, if any of them were to say, I don't, a white woman is not my first option or a black woman is not my first option. It's just his preference. Now, if he's like down at black women, like, nah, I don't want to be with no black women because they ugly and they this and that, that would be different. But preference, it's just preference.
I get that she's wanting to put strong emphasis on the fact that when it comes to her and her situation with her husband, it's mainly based off of preference. But the truth of the matter is, the things that she does say and the way she titles her videos to race bait, it's very irresponsible for the simple fact she has 2 black sons. And so she really has to be careful of the fact that the things that she's saying can definitely be projected onto her 2 black sons. Because if you have this viewpoint towards black men and you're raising 2 black boys, how is that going to turn out? Because they're going to feel, well, if my mom feels a certain way towards black men, that can cause them to internalize that rejection, if you will.
Okay. But your preference is based off of bad experiences with black men.
No, my preference is based off of factual statistics. Yeah. So like would I, knowing that we're the least and knowing, yeah, would I just wouldn't want to, especially at my age, um, waste my time dating someone that I know probably likely is not, gonna take me anywhere farther than the date.
So Rose really contradicted herself here because she's trying to make it seem like the only reason why she chooses not to date black men is because of statistics. When she just got through saying that she's with her white husband because of preference. So it can't be both. It can't be I choose not to be with black people based off of statistics, because if that is how you're navigating relationships, then you being with a white man would have been based off of statistics. So you're saying that you're with your husband because it's a preference, but it's a preference for you to not want to date a black man as well. You can't say it's preference on one end, but it's statistics on the other. Like, that just didn't make sense to me. But I really feel that what Tasha said initially is what it is. She just doesn't want to admit to it. And it's basically the fact that because she had bad experiences with black men, she chose to go another route, which is her choice. But because she's not owning up to her choices, that's what's making this frustrating because she's not being honest.
So, is it fair to say that if black men were doing better, they could easily become your preference again?
Absolutely, yeah. Like if statistics were, if our mindset changed as a whole, absolutely, why not? Yeah.
Okay. So, is it fair to say that you're only with a white man because you can't get the black man that you want?
Oh no, no, not at all. I don't
Why
think
would you
so.
say that?
I don't think so. I prefer them based on their morals and their values, and it's just different. Like, and I speak
So white,
about
so white men have better morals and values than black men, and
as a
white men
whole, I believe,
were
but
the
I want to say
creators
African
of the.
American.
So white men were the creators of the slave trade, but they have better morals and values than black
African
men.
American.
Y'all, when she said this, I just cringed because I'm like, oh my goodness. So I feel like, here's my thing. When I look at the generation as a whole, this is a very degenerate generation, meaning there is a lack of morals across the board. Okay? It's not just solely based from the black race. It transcends the globe because there is so much perversion that has been filtered in to our society and just to the cultures around the world. What used to be taboo, what used to be not acceptable, not allowed, it's just in your face. And so for her to say that one race has more morals than the other race, that's very problematic because you cannot speak for a whole race when you have not had personal interactions with that whole race. Now, what we see being portrayed from a media standpoint, yes, black people are highlighted, no question. But that's done for a reason. Again, you got to look at the agendas. Why do they push black people in the spotlight to portray this negative image? Because yes, there are a lot of men and women in our culture, in our black race that lack morals. 100%. But it's not all black people.
Americans in 2024 yet. I don't know about in 1920, but in 2024 as a whole, I believe so. And I speak on African American black men because African men are different. Like they are more likely to take care of their families. Like other black men are not different than African American. I'm not just speaking on black men.
But
I'm
but
speaking on
but
African
it was a
Americans.
but you do know when we're talking about statistics and facts, right? Because you are basing it on statistics. You do know that when we look at why black men don't take care of black women, it's because of white men separating black men and black women from their families. And we just came out of the civil rights movement literally during our mom's time. My mom went to school in the 1960s. So we're literally talking about 40, 50 years. And
Yeah,
so
I
this
do
is
get it,
the
Tasha, but it's
cycle,
like
and this is due to the laws that white men put in place to ensure that black women like me and you would look at black men and say, we prefer to be with a white man because white men physically couldn't measure up to a black man. So what they did was attack them mentally, spiritually, and financially so that we would look at them as the go-to. You do know that, right?
I believe it's very important as black women and men, if there are black men watching this video, But it is extremely important for us to learn about our history because they do not teach Black history correctly. I mean, when I was in school, even in college, my children, they do not teach Black history correctly. They give us bare minimum. And so you have to kind of do your own research and find the information that's out there. There are a lot of information out there that you can get your hands on and read your true history. But what I do want to also add to what Tasha is saying here is that when you look at the governmental programs that were put into place a few decades ago, the whole point of them coming up with programs such as food stamps, Section 8, welfare, all of that, the whole purpose behind those programs was to destroy the family unit within the Black home. And so when you look inside of those programs, you could not get any type of assistance if there was a man in the house. They would ask you those questions. Do you have a man present in the home, whether it's the children's father, whether it was a boyfriend? You could not have a man in the house because if you did, they would deny you any type of assistance. If you don't believe me, you can look it up. This is a known fact. And so this was why the welfare system was implemented. It was to destroy the family unit, and it worked. Because when you look at, our grandparents' generation and the generations before that, they were known to be married for long periods of time. They didn't have divorces back then. I mean, it wasn't as common back then as it is now. They had children that grew up in two-parent households. Like, Black people were very successful. If you don't know about Black Wall Street, look into that. That was a real thing. And so, yeah, I just wanted to kind of share that just in case you may not have been aware.
Yeah. There is a tier of Black men that I run into every day. I'm married to a Black man. Yes, he's African, but there are also American Black men that are just as competitive with an African Black man. And African Black men have their own shit as well too. You about will be a sister wife married to an African Black man because yeah, they do stand on business when it comes to raising their families. But to isolate based off of 3 experiences that you had at such a very young age, and now you put a white man on a totem pole like this as he's the savior, which was systematically designed for all women to look at white men as a savior. You're doing that, but yet making videos when you're drunk one night with a glass of wine, because the wine do tell truth, and you tried to put him out as the Black man that you did when you put on papers and made him pay child support. So which is it, Rose?
I mean, another great point. And that's what I was saying initially in the beginning. I feel that Rose based her whole outlook on Black men from previous relationships that she had that were not successful. And because of her personal experiences with those Black men, she literally just had her own, came up to her own conclusion. Even though she's trying to make it seem like it was all about statistics, no, you made your own conclusion on your experiences and you labeled it as these are statistics. And it's very unfair for you to do that and put that on all Black men because you had bad experiences with Black men. Like, that's not being realistic, and it's not being fair. And when you look at the things that she was saying on those lives, the way she was just coming at her husband, like just revealing just all the things that she ended up lying about to make him look to be perfect. It's like, girl, you came on here trying to spin this narrative that your husband is this ideal man because you chose to date outside of your race. You chose to marry outside of your race. And you use these reasonings to back up why you were pushing this narrative, all to reveal on your lives when you had had too much to drink, you was revealing the actual truth that you were making those things up so that you could prop him up and look perfect. So it's like, and of course now you're making it seem like you was just saying those things because you was mad. I'm not buying that. I really believe there was a lot of truth into what you were saying on that live. This is just your way of, trying to clean up and save face, but it really is a contradiction. It's a whole contradiction.
Well, let's move to that video because that's ultimately why you made the wine list on my show, was because I saw and I
Girl,
followed you.
take me off the wine list, honey.
Honey. You on the wine list, baby girl. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Listen.
I'm
And
done with the.
you wouldn't be on the wine list if you didn't put your white savior out on the internet for people to be dropping apple pies at his doorstep in his DM. You threw that man out here to the wolves
Not
after
my
you done
white
paraded him
savior.
as the big white Jesus savior that he was, and then you
Yes,
turned
baby.
around and
Yes.
emasculated that man before the black man that wanted you to do it.
Y'all, when I saw those lives that Rose did, it was very hard to believe that this woman just literally disrespected her husband the way that she did. Like, it was even stuff she was saying that questioned his sexuality. Like, she literally was saying things that insinuated that this man was bisexual. And it's like, girl, what are you doing? I don't care how mad you get. You do not do that to your husband.
So what
Okay.
happened? What happened? Why
Okay.
you cuss your white husband out like that
Girl, shut up
and
talking about white
emasculated him
husband.
before these black men that was waiting on your ass to come out and say he just like us? They just like us.
Tasha,
What happened?
why you keep saying white husband? White
Because
savior.
like that's how you paraded him. Like he was the best. A white man, a black man's treasure is a white black man's trash is a white man's treasure. Like you
No,
paraded
go
him,
to
and let's not act like
hell,
you didn't.
Tasha.
Let's not act like you didn't get your following from black women who looked up to y'all
Okay.
biracial relationship.
As they should. Okay, so
Did y'all catch that? Tasha said you had these black people looking up to you in your relationship, and Rose said as they should. That's why Tasha gave that look at the end, like, okay. Like, when I tell you there was some things that I didn't see before, because, like I said, I wasn't really watching her like that. But in this interview, I saw a lot about her character that really rubbed me the wrong way. I don't know if this is who she's always been or if her success on YouTube has gotten to her head, but she was very rude, very disrespectful, very egotistical. Um, just, I didn't like the way she was carrying herself in this interview. It was it was just not a good look.
I made a decision to fake separate from my husband because at this point, I have a detective and everything in regards to the situation, but I was having to pay a lawyer. So I'm like, okay, if I have to pay a fucking lawyer like $7,000, like just to even talk to him, she's gonna pay for this lawyer, like I'm gonna make her pay. So as much as it was driving me insane, like it was also driving my algorithm up with them commenting all the negativity and everything. And so I was like, okay, so I'm gonna make her pay for her own lawyer for me to chew a hole in her ass. That was my plan.
To those of you who may not know, Rose did a video that basically spoke on her and her husband separating. Now she's admitting in this interview that that was a fake separation storyline because she wanted her stalker, the person who has been stalking her on YouTube, and she's had to go the legal routes to deal with this issue. Her plan was to come up with a storyline that would generate income on her YouTube channel so that she could afford a lawyer. But her reasonings is also saying that she felt like her doing this, it would be one upping her stalker. But that doesn't make sense because you allow your true supporters to believe this lie. Y'all, this is crazy.
You know how you just threw the white king out to with the trash black men. Cause you said they black men are trash statistically, and the white man that you put up, you threw him
No,
out there with them niggas. So you taking it back?
that's what we're not gonna do though, because
You
I
taking it
never
back?
said the Kings were trash. I never said that.
You
I
taking it
said the
back?
statistics are not
Mm-hmm.
okay. I ain't
Okay.
said it was trash. I never said that. I would
I mean,
never
there's
say
a
that.
lot of bad, wretched black women too.
Yeah, there are.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And there's also
Yes,
a lot of
there are. Unfortunately, all these the crab in a bucket mentality. I get it the most from women that look like me. Yes, there are.
And there's also I can lip gloss too. There's also hold on. Yes, we lip gloss. And there's also statistic toxic black wives and black mothers as well too. Who are
No, I'm not.
raising
No, don't.
black sons with a preference.
When I tell y'all Tasha gathered her all the way together right here, have y'all ever watched something and y'all felt embarrassment for that person and you don't know them? You literally looking at somebody through a screen, but it's like you can't even watch. That's what I felt when I was watching this part right here. It was so awkward because what Tasha said, oh my gosh, like it hit real tough. And I know Rose felt every bit of it. All she could do was just sit back and laugh because she was uncomfortable. It's like when you can just discern and when you can just see through a person, it ain't nothing like it. And when a person is face to face with somebody that can see through them, they become very uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable.
No, we're not raising black sons with a preference. I don't speak about like this is better or that's better in my household to my sons at all. Like at all. They don't. No.
You don't think they're gonna watch your videos one day?
No, I don't think they're gonna be like interested to like go back and watch stuff regarding like I don't speak that much on race, Tasha. I really don't. Like I get that I do it here and there, but I don't like every video is not about race, honey child.
So Rose, you think you would have built the audience that you built without parading the biracial relationship in front of the world? You think that's why we think we was following you? I mean, you are a beautiful woman, don't get me wrong. Brett, in my opinion, he okay. I done seen white men that look better. I'm just saying. And I know that's your
Girl,
husband.
my man is fine.
Child.
My white savior, baby.
Girl, not Tasha done had to put the shades back on and do a spin move on that comment. Cause she said, I've seen better. I'm just like, girl. But once again, Rose is still not wanting to see that she has really put herself in a situation where she's going to have to answer to a lot of things she has done. And she's not taking ownership of it because her keeps saying that she doesn't believe that she was race baiting. It's like crazy to me because you emphasize on black in your titles. You emphasize on white in your title. So what do you call that if it's not race baiting? But she was being condescending like she was doing throughout this interview, calling her honey child. Like I just feel like there's just a certain way you should conduct yourself, especially when you're on an interview. And I don't know, I just felt like Rose kept slick saying little things that I felt was just disrespectful.
Let me ask you a question. What if the roles were reversed? What if he, being a white man, would have uploaded a video telling you how sorry of a black woman you were and how you didn't contribute? What if he were to publicly say that about you
I'm not
in a
sure
video
because
when
I
it
can.
goes ultra viral?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I know, like it's like, what if he would have did that? I mean, we're married, so I would have been mad and then got unmad, and then we would have continued our marriage, our relationship, because we're literally like married. Like it's not my boyfriend, we're married. But like, what if he did that? At what level of hurt would I have been? I'm not sure because I'm not in the I have to be in the predicament to know what I would do.
I call cap on that because Rose know exactly what her response would be. It's just she doesn't want to have to deal with the reality of her situation. See, she wants to paint this picture that she's not race baiting, which that's exactly what she's doing. But it only looks good when she's the one doing the baiting. What Tasha asked her was I loved that question. That's how you flip it on somebody. And that question exposed so much right there because it put Rose in such a I could tell she was uncomfortable because it forced her to really see herself because she's been hiding behind this narrative that she is like in charge of being this black woman who's trying to be this voice for other black women, saying that dating outside of your race, marrying outside of your race will give you more opportunities and you don't have to stay in the box of just dating within your race. But for Tasha to pose this question, it's like you want people to believe that what you're doing is okay by putting the titles out there that you know is going to get people talking because it's very controversial. That's why you do it. But for Tasha to flip it on you, you know you wouldn't be able to handle that because you couldn't even handle the question. Not alone, you wouldn't be able to be in a situation where your husband is playing the same game with you that you're playing with him and your black children. See, I think it's so hypocritical for you to come on here and try to put yourself in a position to speak for the whole black race when you're not even living in your own truth about why you are making the decisions that you're making. It's just it's very unfortunate, but I know she knew how to answer that question. She just didn't want to because it would further expose her in a way that she doesn't want to be exposed. But I mean, the thing with truth, it doesn't matter if you're ready for the truth or not. It's still going to be truth, and it's still going to expose what needs to be exposed. Period.
That's the thing. That's where the little argument was with me being overly emotional about my mom, overly emotional about the way my husband was just going in and not being able to, So I said, okay, well, I'm gonna, troll him and troll the troll. It really was not for
troll your savior, and you paraded him and how great he is as a partner and a lover to the world. And
right.
you
And
didn't
he
think,
still is that. He literally still is that.
okay.
The thing is, like, I know a lot of people really love to live in like a fairy tale world. It's like, oh my goodness, they're a good, healthy couple. So, like, they
Mm-mm.
don't argue at all. Everyone does argue. Sure, my
Every,
argument, it got super viral where that was not like the
Mhm.
goal. That's not where it's supposed to, what was supposed to happen. But
I think everyone knows that relationships have arguments, right?
mhm.
But I could tell you without a shadow of a doubt, I've been married 18 years. You can't find one video, one text message, one email of me disrespecting and emasculating my husband before the public because I'm mad at my mom. And had a very toxic relationship with my mother for 15 years of my marriage. We just recently got on the same page. I had more than enough triggers to be able to upload when my husband or when somebody does something to me and then I could take it out on him. But for me to say purposely upload, go live, don't act like I didn't do this. Don't act like you don't do this. Don't act like I didn't buy my car and put the bow on it. But you paraded it as if he gave you these gifts.
And that is exactly my point as well. When Rose came on here and said all of the things she said about her husband Brett, it was so disrespectful. It was so distasteful. She definitely emasculated this man in front of the whole world. She literally like left so many open holes for people to draw conclusions when it came to his sexuality. Like, this is your husband, and you did this to your husband. It's like, girl, how do you even defend that? You can't come on here talking about, well, I was going through postpartum, or I had just had a situation where I was being stalked online, or I was having a situation with my mom where we have a very toxic relationship. although all of those situations are very serious situations and it would stress anybody out, it still does not give you the permission to come on the internet and embarrass and disrespect your husband the way you did. I don't care if every last one of those things you said about him was true. You don't expose that to strangers, because the information that you know about your husband, if you chose to still be with him, then that's your choice. You don't complain about it after the fact. But you knew this, and you should have kept that within your family, within your home. You don't blast important personal stuff like that to the world. Like, that's crazy to me.
I didn't buy my. He did. He did. And that's the thing. That's what I said. I was an emotional woman, and I was talking shit. So for my husband, I don't know. Maybe we're both delusional together because he's not really like tripping at all. So I'm gonna be one
I
hundred
know he
percent
ain't
honest.
tripping. Most men don't sweat the
He's
small
not.
stuff.
Like he really
But
isn't. So I do love that for you that you can't find any of that on you in 18 years. I love that for you, and I love how long you've been married. I love it.
well, it's
I
because
am
I
very
intentionally
admiring.
don't do it. I intentionally do not disrespect or emasculate my man before anybody.
I
He
love
can't even
that.
say that I've said that around friends. So for you to take to the internet where you make your money, both of
Hmm.
y'all make money off the internet. Make no mistake. So when you was like, "Don't act like my money didn't put money
Thank
down on this
you.
house,"
That's what I'm saying. You
that
see, I'm
he don't
sitting
get his
here.
face in the camera. That's his money too.
That's what I. Hello, Tasha. So you know
Okay.
that. So I don't know
Okay.
why, like
Okay. We on the contract.
the Range Rover and everything else. I'm sitting here. I don't work. I haven't worked since I've been with my husband. I don't
But you do
work.
work.
He's work. I yes, but I'm saying I don't go to a place to work. So anything, any money that I've got, I've gotten it with and due to my husband. So I didn't put a bow on my car. I actually told my husband I didn't want the Range Rover. So when he quit working while I was 8 months pregnant for a minute, and I had to make a couple car notes. Yeah, I was pissed, but I didn't. I actually told my husband I didn't want the Range Rover to
So
begin with.
there it is. So you did feel like you were carrying the family. And when he didn't have a job, is when all those old emotions came up that you haven't dealt with from your last relationship. Being that he was sitting there not working, you got
I
angry
don't
because you
know
just said
anything,
that, and that's
Tasha.
what
So
led
my
to the video.
Yeah, Rose is definitely trying to like, what she's saying here is completely different from what she was saying before, because she was insinuating that she did everything. She was putting her money into everything, that it was her doing it and not Brett. But now she's trying to make it seem like, oh, that's what I'm saying. That's what I've been saying this whole time. No, you haven't. Because you literally made it seem like Brett wasn't really contributing at all financially. Like, that was really how you made it look. And it's just, again, like, I just, it just bothers me when people backpedal and try to make it seem like they didn't say certain things when so many people heard what you said. It's just gaslighting. You know what I'm saying? And I'm glad Tasha is catching her on this stuff, though.
I apologize, but I'm not
Uh-huh.
like overly beating myself up the way that you got, not you, but like the internet would like me to. Like, I cannot believe I went through some shit. It is what it
No,
is.
it was
Like,
just utterly disrespectful for you to disrespect your husband like that because you were going through what you were going through
absolutely.
publicly. Like,
Yep.
first of all, I don't disrespect my husband publicly or
I
privately.
love
I just
that.
don't do it.
I
I
love
just
that.
don't do it. And I was raised by women who taught me never to do that because you don't let people know what's going on in your house. And I
I
get that you
agree.
guys make family content, but like that's a good way for women to be at your doorstep throwing at that man that you praising.
I agree. They're throwing it regardless, but I
Mm,
100% agree.
mm.
I'm 100% with you
That's
on
a
that.
lot, child.
I'm 100% with you on that. That is not a lie at all. So
Yeah, when it comes to marriage, you have to look at marriage as being sacred. Like, you have to protect it, you have to nourish it, you have to invest in it, you have to love it, you have to cherish it. Like, that's not something that you just take for granted. And you definitely do not want anybody to just have any type of access to your marriage, because that is a very intimate space that really nobody should have access to. But if there is someone that you do confide in when it comes to your marriage, it definitely better be somebody that you fully trust, because y'all, it's crazy out here. It really is.
Is it true that he was living with his mama when you met him? No.
Why you put your glasses on to be messy?
I just, I'm
No,
just asking. Is it true
no,
that
sis. No,
he
sis.
was
It's
living
not
with his
true.
mama?
It's not true. He lived
He
in
was
Las Vegas, Nevada when we got together. When we
okay.
first got together, he said that he laid in my bed and told me that he was sniping. That scared the shit out of me because
Sniping.
first of all, he's what? Yeah, he is. He did private security when I met him, so he is like a certified sniper. But he was doing it as a sport, not like killing anyone. But when I heard sniper, I didn't know nothing about that. Like that to me, that's some white shit. So I
That
got
sounds like
scared.
an assassin. What is he sniping? Does he work for the CIA?
No, so you go
The
out in the
Marshals?
desert. You go out in the desert. We live in Vegas. You go out in the desert and you
Okay.
practice sniping. Actually, I took down a lot of his pictures because I wanted to change it to family content. But his whole Instagram page was like private security and him shooting and with guns and all that type of stuff. But yeah, so when he first told me that, I got really, really scared. And the way that he looks, I'm not gonna lie, when I first got with him, I liked him. I was intrigued by him, but I was low key a little bit wary. I felt comfortable being at my house with them, but I didn't feel comfortable being at his house.
So when she said that, I was just like, what? She said that when she first met her husband, that she felt more comfortable spending time with him at her place versus spending time with him at his place because he scared her. I don't know. That's just weird to me. Like, how do you eventually become attracted to somebody that you initially was afraid of? Like, that's weird, right? Because, I mean, usually when you are getting to know somebody, you only take it a step further. Like, I'm going to give you my number. We can go out. We can, have more conversation. Like, you're feeling a certain positive vibe from that individual. Otherwise, if you feeling like creepy vibes or something don't feel right, like you're not supposed to get my number, you're not even getting my name. But it's just weird that that was her initial vibe, but she continued on. I don't know. That's just weird. Is it just me?
When we first met, he lived in an apartment in Las Vegas. And then about 3 months later, I never went there because I didn't like to go to Las Vegas anyways because I was from Henderson. To me, Las Vegas is crazy. I just don't go to Las Vegas. So um he about 3 months later, when we were together, we got a little bit more comfortable with each other. I asked him to move into my place, and his lease was up. So he
Wait a
moved.
minute now. Hold on. Wait a minute. You asked that white man who was sniping to move in with you?
3 months later, we're like together now. We're together. His lease is up. So I'm like, he's like, I'm about to get a place with my homie or whatever. I'm like, no, just move in with me. My lease is not up. Your
He
lease
was
is up.
going to get a roommate. So instead of him going to get a roommate, he chose you as the roommate.
Yeah, sure. But so no, he like, girl, he had to pay. But yeah.
But roommates help out
Anyways,
financially.
right. So anyway, because my lease wasn't up, and we've been together for like 3 months.
So he
Anyways,
said, don't take that money over here. Bring it over here. And I got two kids. 3 months
Tasha
after
K, Tasha K.
Y'all, if this ain't about a mess, okay. So now we're really getting somewhere here. This is wow. So you mean to tell me you are a single black mother with two black sons, and you meet a random white man who you said initially you were afraid of, and you ended up moving this man into your home with your two sons after knowing him for 3 months. Wow. Wow. Wow.
If I was moving in with you, I wasn't gonna So yeah, like I did actually the first time I went to his place, he was on a mattress, but he also bought my Camaro from me. So obviously he wasn't broke. I didn't want the Camaro
He
anymore.
bought a car from you?
Yeah, because no, he had his car, girl. Don't do that.
I just only asked what you put out.
He
Okay.
had a car, but I was tired of my Camaro and I was trying to sell it. And he said, "Hey, I'll buy it from you." And he bought my Camaro from me. He did.
How much you sell it to him for?
4,000.
Okay. He gave you cash or payments?
No, he gave me cash.
Oh, okay, I'm just checking. I didn't know. Like, I'm thinking maybe you moved in with a white man in Vegas that had like a 6-bedroom house. I didn't know he had a mattress on the floor when you told him, and he was about to go do a roommate, and you told him to come stay with you.
Well, now
Was
you
that
know,
what you
Tasha. Now you know, girl.
Y'all see what I'm talking about? This girl is nice, nasty. You hear me? That's why Tasha gave that look at the end, because I could tell Tasha was trying her hardest not to just go in the way she wanted to go in, because this girl was being real disrespectful. Like, real disrespectful. And I can only imagine how Tasha was really looking at this girl. That's why she kept putting them shades on, because she was looking at that girl like, girl, I see all through you. But yeah, that was like, mm-mm. It's only gonna be so many of those, and y'all gonna see Tasha gonna let loose in a minute.
They're more practical and pragmatic. And like I said, they're that stableness while you move around. When you done moving around, I'm still here and we're still able to move forward. Or if we can't move forward, we definitely not moving backwards, but we still. So some of the things that you just described here that you dislike in black men, that you dislike based off of your previous experiences with black men, that you dislike based on statistics that you put out in your videos, you're living that very thing right now by
I think
saying we
you're
cannot
so
give you the
confused,
lifestyle
Josh.
that you want.
I think you're so confused with like
What?
me, like the whole black man thing. Respectfully, with me and like the whole black man thing, I don't know where we got this like connotation that like I'm like so this with about black men. My preference is my preference, and it's not about like oh they this that. It's about the way that you can literally have a baby and just leave. You can literally. It's not about oh a black man is don't have enough money or whatever whatever. Which I yeah like you need to make some money for sure. But yeah, it's not about
Am I
none of
crazy?
it's the deeper stuff with black men, not like that.
Am I crazy? I could have swore you said you got your preference based off of your experiences and statistics on
No,
what
I said
black
off of
women are going through with black men, and then I
I said
repeated the
off of
very same thing that you
statistics.
said.
Yes, that's what I said, Tasha. I said off of statistics, deeper than you're not buying me a Range Rover, off of the statistics of you're impregnating women and then you leave them single. Off the statistics of a woman having to force you onto child support. Those statistics.
I'm sorry, but this girl is not making no sense, because once again she's trying to bypass the point that Tasha is making, which is a valid point. You've based your whole decision on having a preference for white men and not having a preference for black men because of your experiences, and you made it seem like it was all about statistics. And then you're going to have to the nerve to say that the statistics show that black men impregnate women and leave them, and they do not want to pay child support. Girl, have you not realized that white men fall into that category too? That white men impregnate women too, leaving them single, leaving them to have to deal with the children themselves? That white men run away from their responsibilities and don't pay child support? Like, you are sounding very ignorant. Very ignorant. And didn't you say on your live when you was going through your rant about your husband being a deadbeat that you had to force him to be active in his child's life? Wasn't that you who said that?
It's about your daughter. You went to Minnesota or whatever your baby mother is from, and you've been nothing but a deadbeat to your daughter. You knew your daughter, you knew where she was, you did not try at all whatsoever. Let's be honest about the fact that I'm the one that made you see. I'm the one that made you see your daughter. Let's be honest about the fact that when I met you, you was lying about the fact that you had a daughter. Let's be honest about the fact that you are a literal how angry I got when I found out that you can't see that little girl, and I told you to go and get a lawyer and go fight for your daughter. Literally pissed off that you wouldn't fight for your daughter.
Yeah, it's the contradictions for me.
Now, do I think that other black family and black love exists? Absolutely. Not enough, though. That's the problem. So if you're offended by it, just do better. And I'm happy for you and your black relationship of 18 years. It's beautiful. We need more relationships like that.
We need more relationships like that, but yet you chose to marry outside of your race. There's not enough black love, but yet you chose to go to another race. And again, I'm not making anybody out to be a bad person for marrying outside of their race or dating outside of their race. But I'm speaking to the contradiction of what she's saying because she's trying to make it seem like our black race needs to do better. And this is how we need to do better. But you're not taking your own advice. You literally just threw your hands up and said, I'm out with the deuces. But you want all the other black people that are still in the race to do better and find black love and make it better based off of statistics. Like, this makes no sense to me. It makes no sense that you're trying to sit in this position to be the voice for that, and you chose to go another route. Like, this is just weird.
And I believe that you know that as a whole, black men can do better at taking care of our families.
And so
And
can black women, because there are toxic black mothers out here that are just as equally as bad as black men. I'm
of
just
course,
very
yeah.
pragmatic across the board. And
Yeah.
I don't, if I'm going to call out a problem, like I do it amongst light-skinned women, right? Light-skinned women have a privilege, right? And when I see them settle, I challenge them on making better decisions. Like, you do not have to be this pretty girl privilege doesn't have to be your downfall. You understand what I'm saying? And so I always try to find a way to praise them while not beating them down, right? By letting them know their value. But when you have someone online who makes content directed at pissing off black men by parading your relationship as better, and if more black women just stepped outside of the box to date, they would find better. And it's not the case, because a lot of black women have issues that they're carrying from black men or from their fathers who have multiple children. And there's no way you could sit here and tell me your daddy was all the way deaf for you with 16 damn children. There's just no way.
When I tell you Tasha said a mouthful right here, she literally did. And I agree with what she is saying, because Rose is trying to put this stigma on black men. But black women are also to blame for why our race is what it is. And I'm so glad that Tasha pointed out the fact that there are toxic black women and mothers out here, just like there are toxic other women and mothers out here of other races. If we're going to point out a problem and we're going to make it about the whole race, we got to look at all of it, not just blame it on just the men, because the women play a part in it as well. So I'm so glad Tasha brought that forth, because it was needed.
You literally put down black men to put up your white husband, and then
When
you
did I
still
do that?
cuss him out. Because your attitude, I'm gonna be honest with you, is the reason why a lot of black men don't want to be, right? You're giving that same attitude that black men complain about to a white man. And you're saying, oh, because he takes it, because he's more meek than a black man, because he appears stronger than a black man, then he must be better than a black man. No, you black fathers need to do, black men need to do better. I don't ever see you saying white men need to do better, white men need to be better fathers. I don't ever see you saying that. In your titles is black men, bad fathers, black men, bad husbands, black men. You don't say that about white men. and you've only had one experience with one farmer white man who has a fetish for Black women. Your husband has a fetish.
Now, this is where it starts to get real deep. Now, I I don't know, y'all. I don't know what to say about that. Y'all tell me what y'all are thinking in the comments.
Like I said, he makes six figures. But what I would like to know is, respectfully, what would make you don't even know him from a can of paint? What would make you just
I know what you put out about him, girl, and nobody's really
what would
know
make
your man
you
like that.
automatically assume that he has a fetish?
Most white men do. Okay. That's why they intentionally divided the races, because our women to them looked more desirable than their women.
So that's
it did the same shit Black men are doing now. They did it to the slaves. They was the slave women, left them with babies they didn't claim, didn't leave them no damn land or nothing like that, didn't leave them no assets, and left bastard babies too. And how dare you get up on a platform and say Black men need to do better when they learned a book from the white man, the very sleeping with right now. Bye, Rose.
Tasha.
Got to go. They making me end the line. My PR said I gotta go. Go.
I was about to say, why are you yelling, girl?
I'm sorry. Go tend to your baby. Log off.
Tasha said, go tend to your children and log off. Y'all, her baby was crying towards the end. She asked Tasha, so I can't have the baby on the camera. Tasha was like, nope. But Tasha did end up apologizing to Rose. She let her know that she felt triggered by some of the things that Rose was saying, and so she just reacted to the things that, Rose had said. But I saw it coming. I knew it was coming. But yeah, I did only cover a few parts of this interview because I didn't want to have all of Tasha's video on here, but you are more than welcome to check out the full interview on Tasha's channel. But that pretty much concludes this reaction video. Let me know how you guys like this different format. I'm not trying to make a habit of doing Tasha K's videos just because, I don't want to feel like I'm crossing any lines. But because, she interviewed one of the mothers from our mommy sector, I felt it would be appropriate to do a commentary on this. But let me know what y'all think about this. I will see you guys in the next one. It's One Love, and I'm out.